Why is it that a country that has as much as $10 trillion in untapped natural resources, including one obscure mineral that has the ability to reduce CO2 emissions around the world, remains one of the poorest on Earth? And before I reveal what country that is, did you know that many of the most valuable natural resources in the world were once considered absolutely worthless? Because the fact is, the thing we call natural resources have no practical value unless people can put them to good use. For instance, oil used to be a sticky substance that destroyed your crops, but not so today. And another perfect example of this is the mineral magnesite, which is found all throughout the country I'm about to reveal. Because for centuries, its only known use was effectively as a heat resistance mineral for things like blast furnaces. But in the last 5 years, researchers have discovered that magnesite has the potential to suck massive amounts of CO2 out of the atmosphere. And now suddenly, a rock that previously had no real commercial value has now become a valuable natural resource for advanced economies all over the world because a human mind developed a new application for it. Which brings us to our mystery country. Despite having the world's second largest deposit of magnesite, its people remain some of the poorest on Earth, with the average citizen making less than $2,000 per year, which, to give you some perspective, is even poorer than Rwanda. Now, most estimates suggest that this country has between $6 and $10 trillion in mineral reserves sitting untapped. And the crazy part is, they will probably remain that way for the foreseeable future. Because even if you have the knowledge of how to harness something like magnesite, that doesn't mean much if you're too busy wondering where your next meal is coming from, or worrying about whether or not you and your family will be dragged off to a prison camp in the middle of the night because you didn't show enough public reverence for the supreme leader. You see, the problem is that the country with the largest magnesite mine in the world is North Korea. Now, you may assume that his supreme leadershipness would want to harness the value of this mineral in order to enrich the citizens of his country, or at least himself. But even if that's true, and even if we now understand the value that it represents, a lack of freedom of inquiry, property rights, free markets, technological advancement, and access to capital are all standing in the way of its effective development. Because here's the bottom line. The things we think of as natural resources only become strong economic resources when we figure out ways to effectively harness them. But even after that difficult work has been done, there is a lot of effort that goes from turning a new discovery into a resource which can benefit millions or even billions of people. And when the government stifles the kind of freedom of inquiry, technological development, and innovation needed to develop something like magnesite, it goes from being a valuable natural resource to just being a worthless piece of rock.